to talk some market conditions. Patty Zeller to highlight her Retailer of the Year award. I mean, how big time is that? The top retailer in the pet industry is located in Charlottesville, serving the city of Charlottesville, and garnered and earned the award in her 20th year of doing business. 15 days, 20 days before her 20-year birthday for Animal Connection. We'll highlight just a fantastic businesswoman on the show. I got some tough news to report, some not so great news. Amherst County High School has been closed due to COVID. So Amherst County High School, the first one in the Commonwealth to officially close due to COVID. That decision was made last night by Amherst County leadership, Amherst County School Board. We'll highlight the impact of Amherst County High School closing due to COVID, the first high school in the Commonwealth to close officially this semester due to the Delta variant pandemic. The Delta variant, incredibly contagious, as we know. We'll talk about that on the program. We'll highlight Tito's Vodka. Tito's Vodka is the #1 booze brand in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That shocked me a little bit. I thought this was a bourbon Commonwealth, a bourbon state. The Virginia ABC store is doing incredibly well. CenturyLink is screwing its customers in Scottsville and southern Albemarle County. CenturyLink, we got a message for you. That's what we think of you, CenturyLink. The Danville Casino project will exceed $500 million and will include an additional 200 hotel rooms than initially expected. We'll analyze Tim Cook's legacy, 10 years at Apple today, 10-year anniversary for Tim Cook, who runs maybe the most impactful company in the world, maybe second to Amazon, but Apple has changed our lives. New York City, more expensive now than San Francisco from a rent standpoint. A lot to cover on the Tuesday edition of the I Love Seville show. J-Dubs, I'm ready to rock and roll, homie. Good Tuesday afternoon, guys. Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seville show. Thank you kindly for joining us live on every social media platform known to mankind. We're live across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love Seville network. We're presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary, the newest dispensary on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall and in the city of Charlottesville. David T. and his team have certificates of analyses for everything they sell at Skooma Boutique Dispensary. If you have some aches and pains, Skooma can help you. If you have some anxiety, Skooma can help you. If you have trouble sleeping and relaxing, Skooma Boutique Dispensary can help you. I also want to give a shout out to Luke Marshall. Luke and Sam Tree Service LLC, LC Marshall and Sons Landscaping LLC. They're working outside the Macklin building now, pruning our trees and are making the front of the building look beautiful. We're going through about a $500,000 capital improvement project at the Macklin building on Market Street. You'll see a brand new building over the next few months. I've worked as the president of the Macklin building firsthand on this project, and I've seen how difficult it is to make changes to buildings in the city of Charlottesville. The changes we're trying to do at the Macklin building: new canopies, trimming and cutting down some trees in the front of the building, painting the building, remodeling the front lobby altogether, remodeling the second lobby and the third lobby altogether. And folks, a capital improvement project of $500,000 at the Macklin building you think would go flawlessly and be fairly easy to do. But dealing with the city and local government makes it very complicated and a very slow process, especially for entrepreneurs who are used to going at the speed of light like me. All right, a lot to cover on today's show. The Virginia ABC had a record year. We'll talk about the record year and the numbers that ABC stores in the Commonwealth have posted. 2020 versus 2021, $163 million increase. Virginia ABC stores. Tito's Vodka is the #1 selling booze in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Tito's Vodka, and it's not close. The #1 selling booze in Virginia is Tito's Vodka. That surprised me. Hennessy is 2, Jack Daniel's 7 Black 3, Patron Silver 4, Jim Beam 5. I thought with the Commonwealth of Virginia, it would be a bourbon top 5. But Vodka Tito's number 1. We'll talk about that on the show. CenturyLink is legitimately screwing their customers in Albemarle County. Southern Albemarle County, Scottsville. CenturyLink has sold the portion of its business that services Southern Albemarle and Scottsville. And since they've sold that portion of the business, they literally are doing jack doo-doo for their customers in that portion of Albemarle. I got a message for CenturyLink. If you're watching, this is for you. They have customers in Scottsville and Southern Albemarle County that have not had a working phone or working internet for 9 days or more. And that's not right. We'll highlight CenturyLink and how it's screwing customers in Scottsville and Southern Albemarle County today on the program. I have some unfortunate news to deliver to you. Amherst County High School, Lynchburg area school, the first high school in the Commonwealth of Virginia to now be closed due to COVID. That decision was made last night by leadership in Albemarle County, the school board, and the superintendent's office. Amherst County High School has had a number of cases in its school, and we'll talk about that on today's show. This is a Lynchburg City school. This is a high school that's relatively close to Charlottesville, and it's the first one to close due to the pandemic and the Commonwealth. I'll highlight that in a matter of moments on the I Love CVille show. We'll also talk the Danville Casino project that we've been following closely. This project is going to exceed $500 million. The initial budget was $400 million. Now it's going to exceed $500 million, and it's going to be an additional 200 hotel rooms in this Danville Casino project. Details coming up on the show. New York City has now surpassed San Francisco as the most expensive jurisdiction in the country for rents and rental rates. And Tim Cook's legacy we will analyze with Nicholas Erpe today on the show. He's the CMO of Emergent Financial Services. Tim Cook, 10 years as CEO today. Today is his anniversary. Apple and Amazon. Which of those two brands and businesses has had a larger impact or a more profound impact on America, on the world? Apple or Amazon? From my standpoint, it's one of those two that have had the most profound impact, not only in the country, the Commonwealth, but the globe. Apple, I'm using an Apple computer now. I have an iPhone in my hand. I have 4 Apple TVs in this office. Judah's on a Mac desktop. Judah has an iPhone that he's tracking the audio on his desk. I have an iWatch on right now. Our guest, Nicholas Erpe, is doing some analysis and research on his iPhone as we speak. Apple, I'm going to say the most impactful company on the globe over the most recent generation. I think Amazon, the only one that can challenge it. We'll talk about that with Nicholas Erpe, and we'll highlight Patty Zeller today on the I Love CVille show. She'll be in person. Retailer of the Year, Patty Zeller, friend of the program, client of VMV Brands. We've worked alongside this fabulous businesswoman for 5+ years. We've watched her blossom and boom. We watch how she inspires people, how she has vision, how she takes risk. She, during 2020, during a pandemic, expands her retail operation, moves from McIntyre Plaza to X Park, does a joint venture with Lead the Way Canine Training, where she's offering, in this partnership with Lead the Way, training services within Animal Connection. She launched Bark Boxes. She made her talk show, What's Barking Local, better than ever. And now she's been honored and recognized as the Retailer of the Year. We'll talk Patty Zeller at 1:15 on the show. The lead of the program is booze, though. Booze. So I'm going to give you some numbers here first, and then we'll analyze them. Virginia's ABC fiscal year ran from July 2020 to June 2021. In that fiscal year, the ABC generated $1.4 billion with a B in gross revenue during fiscal year July 2020 to June 2021. That was a $163 million increase over the previous fiscal year. The ABC contributed $616 million for designated state programs and services. This is an increase of $71.1 million over the previous year. People are drinking, and they're drinking at rates they've never drank before. That happens when you spend more time inside. That happens when bars are regulated and locked down. That happens when concert venues and wedding venues are quarantined and shut down. That happens when restaurants are limited in the hours that they can offer their services to their customers. So people drinking at home, here's what they're drinking the most. Tito's Handmade Vodka, the number one selling booze brand in the Commonwealth during the previous fiscal year. Tito's Handmade Vodka. That surprised me. I thought number one would be a bourbon brand of some kind. Brown liquor at least. Hennessy, number two. Jack Daniel's 7 Black, the third best-selling booze brand in the Commonwealth this past fiscal year. That's Tennessee whiskey. Patron Silver, 4, that's tequila, and Jim Beam in an affordable and entry point bourbon is number 5. So Tito's 1, Hennessy 2, Jack Daniel's 3, Patron 4, Jim Beam 5, the top 5 selling booze brands in the Commonwealth. I thought, and these numbers prove wrong, I thought the Commonwealth, Virginia, south of the Mason-Dixon line, would be a brown liquor bourbon state. I thought it would be, Jim Beam would be higher. I thought some of these bourbon brands would be ranked a little bit, like an Evan Williams, who's an affordable price point, would be ranked in there, but they're not. Tito's gets the nod for number one. Here's the question. How do you think people are enjoying their Tito's? Tito's is not an entry point vodka. It's not top shelf, but it's not entry point. How do you think people are enjoying their Tito's? Mixed drink fashion? Drinking it straight? Neat? On the rocks? Splash of water? How are people enjoying their Tito's? I would think the majority of people are enjoying their Tito's because I don't really see vodka as a drink that you drink on the rocks or neat with some kind of mixer in it. Tito's, number one, props to you. Top booze brand in the Commonwealth. Now we go from applauding a business to now it's time to hold one accountable. CenturyLink is the top ISP, internet service provider, and home phone provider in the Scottsville, Southern Albemarle County area. There's been thousands of people around Scottsville and Southern Albemarle that have been without internet and home phone. Some could even call 911 as of last night. Think about that. If you've been in Scottsville or Southern Albemarle County, you know for a fact that cell phone service goes to die there. So having a home phone is extremely important to folks living around Scottsville and Southern Albemarle. My wife and I, we don't have a home phone. We use our cells. We have good service where we live in the Keswick area. Okay? So right now, CenturyLink has phones down, has internet down. Its customers can't even call 911. They can't connect to their family and friends. They have to leave their home in their vehicles to get a good spot to use their cell phone. And CenturyLink is doing nothing about it. They've sold the portion of the business, CenturyLink, that services Scottsville and Southern Albemarle County. Because they've exited this business through the sale of their footprint, they don't care about their customers right now. This is one of the platform points I'm running upon for Albemarle County Board of Supervisors. Scottsville and Southern Albemarle County needs a tenacious dog. A rabid dog, a fearless, relentless, untiring dog to champion and fight for Scottsville residents and Southern Albemarle County residents alike. Right now, that is not happening with current Supervisor Donna Price. I'm not knocking her, I'm holding her accountable. She says on the record there's little we can do. The reason she was elected into office was to stand up for the folks that don't have as powerful a platform or voice as she does. There's got to be something. There's always something you can do. CenturyLink right now just does not care about Scottsville and Southern Albemarle County. And the residents that live in that area, I feel your pain tremendously. I cannot imagine in today's era of not having internet and a home phone, especially as we go into school year where we all see a hybrid education in the future for public schools. Next topic is a sad one, an unfortunate one we predicted would happen, one that I would expect is going to happen even more as we head into September. Amherst County High School closed today. That decision was made last night by school board and the school division. They have a COVID outbreak within the high school. Now, leadership in the county of Amherst and its public school system is doing contact tracing for the students that had COVID and those that have been around those students. The Monday night announcement came the same day that Amherst County Public School Assistant Superintendent William Wells sent a separate message stating there had been 17 positive COVID-19 cases reported in Amherst Public Schools since Friday night. This is the first high school in the Commonwealth to close. We don't know for how long. We don't know how long yet. But the first high school in the Commonwealth to close due to this pandemic and the contagious Delta variant. I wish everyone in Amherst, students and parents alike, teachers and leadership alike, anyone working within the school division, patience, empathy, kindness, resiliency, stick-to-itiveness. I'm not trying to be a doom and gloom analyzer of news. I just do not see, with the rampant nature of Delta variant, in-person education making it very long this semester. Pfizer having the FDA full approval, which was announced yesterday, that's going to be a leverage point for the government to start mandating vaccinations. And anytime we utilize the word mandate, people get their hair stands up. They get a little prickly. They wonder, what's going on? Guys, it's going to be a dogfight. September, October, and November. It's going to be a dogfight. Having 20-some under 12-year-olds in a classroom in a poorly ventilated building when they're not consistently focused on wearing masks and leaving social distance between each other is a recipe for trouble. Okay, we must understand this. Amherst County, the first high school to close due to this pandemic in the Commonwealth. Nicholas Erpy in 7 minutes. We're going to talk Danville Casino now. We've been following these casino developments since, March, April of last year. There's a Hard Rock Casino planned for Danville, Virginia. Of all the casinos I'm most excited about, 4 or 5 are coming online in the Commonwealth. You got one outside Richmond. You got one in the Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach area. You got a couple in southwestern Virginia. There's some scuttlebutt about one in northern Virginia. The one I'm most excited about is the known brand, Hard Rock Cafe and Casino, Caesars Virginia project. This project, the initial price tag was $400 million. Today it was announced that that project is going to be roughly $500 million. Senior Vice President with Caesars Entertainment told the Roanoke Times. Not only is it checking in the cost of building this casino 100 more than expected, but the estimated number of hotel rooms is expected to be 500 instead of 300. So here you have, in Danville, an area that is sleepy, past its prime, a bit fatigued and tired, an area that needs some economic revitalization, some new job creation. It got a ton of positive news today. The project is going to be bigger, more expensive than ever. It's going to have 200 extra hotel rooms, and there's going to be more jobs created than initially expected. We'll see an unveiling of the design specs on September 16th. We will follow this casino project closely in the I Love Seaville network. I ask this question to you. Why is there no municipality in Central Virginia that petitioned Virginia government to get a casino somewhere within 20 or 30 miles of the city of Charlottesville. 2 in southwestern Virginia. 1 outside Richmond. 1 in the Bob Beach, Hampton Roads area. Scuttlebutt has 1 in northern Virginia. There's no scuttlebutt, no talk, no chitter chatter about a casino around central Virginia. You got the University of Virginia and CVA, Central Virginia. You got one of the wealthiest counties in the Commonwealth in Albemarle, with one of the highest aggregations of millionaires living in Albemarle County. A casino in Central Virginia, somewhere within 15 to 40 miles of the city of Charlottesville, would have absolutely crushed it. It would have created new jobs, additional tax revenue, and would have further reinforced Charlottesville and Albemarle County as the premier tourist destination on the eastern seaboard. I'm dismayed that leadership in Albemarle, in the city of Charlottesville, and the jurisdictions around Central Virginia did not try to petition a casino for Central VA. Next topic, Nicholas Erpe in 3 minutes. New York City has now surpassed San Francisco as the most expensive rental market. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in New York City is now $2,810. The median rent for a one-bedroom apartment in San Francisco is $2,800. Since January, New York City rents have jumped nearly 20%, but San Francisco rents jumped only about 5%. You wonder what the most expensive area to rent a place in America is? You got it right there, New York City, with San Francisco nipping on its heels. Now, this is a topic we'll talk with Nicholas Erpe. Tim Cook celebrated his 10-year anniversary at Apple today, this morning. He was named the CEO of Apple 10 years ago. Tim Cook has transformed Apple from a company where decisions flowed through an all-powerful CEO, Steve Jobs, into a blue-chip company with rigorous operations, excellent quarterly results, incredible market capitalization, and it's just doing amazing things. Think about the stock price, and then I'm going to bring Nicholas Erpe on this mix. If you had invested $1,000 into Apple on Tim Cook's first day on the job, that $1,000 investment on August 24th, 2011 would be worth $16,900 as of this morning. I'm going to say that again. If you invested a G note into Tim Cook's first day on the job, that G note, which was invested 10 years ago today, now has a value of nearly $17,000. Judah Wickhauer, let's go to the two-shot and welcome Nicholas Erpe to the program.
Thank you for having me on.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. 10 years as CEO for Tim Cook.
Almost as long as Alex has been like CEO of Emergent, you mean?
Yeah.
Halfway right there.
What do you make of that?
It's remarkable because whenever we talk about succession stories, it's difficult because, the history of business, when you think about it, it's always been, a father passes it to his son or his son-in-law, and then, the parents pass their children. There's mostly that. It's generational.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we get into the corporate world, and you have to pick a successor that you think will take on your role. And interestingly enough, because I was reading, as you mentioned it, I'd read his interview with CNBC, and it was always about he didn't want to be the next Steve Jobs, right? And that's important because you have to play your strengths, and that's what he did. He wasn't as product focused, and instead he built Apple on basically the foundation that Jobs had laid, and it's worked brilliantly. They came out with AirPods under his direction. He came out with, the way they have branded the Apple products and
it's
integrated.
It's the coolest brand in the world.
It's the number one. Everyone has things, and now the only thing I will admit you were wrong about, I don't have an iPhone.
Oh, you don't? You got a Droid?
I don't. I got a Droid.
Okay.
I'm just saying that. But the funny thing is, every time I meet somebody who's got iPhone, like my fiance and her entire family,
do they say, "Damn it, green bubbles from Nicholas"?
Oh, they do. They look at me. They're like, one day we're gonna have to just pull you into the Apple world. We're Mac people, so it's kind of funny because again, you have this. It's interesting because they didn't even just build a brand, right? They built a community in the sense that you've got Mac people. They call the Mac Bros. They turned it into something that wasn't just a product. It was an integration with everything, right? Your app, your computer, your phone, everything works smoothly together. And I think the emphasis is also on the smoothly because, I mean, the one thing they say, the difference, I've heard a lot of people complain about Apple because it's proprietary, and so, like, you can't use other things with it as much. But one of the things that I always hear from the Apple people is that, like, everything that Apple's got runs well. So it's remarkable what he's done just in 10 years because that stock has taken off. The market value has taken off. I mean, the amount of AirPods that they shipped, supposedly there was a third-party watcher because they don't release these numbers, but like they were saying was something like 50 million.
More impactful company on the globe, Apple or Amazon? And is your short list those two? Is there another one that's on there? NVIDIA's got ridiculous returns. I own a hell of a lot of NVIDIA.
I was gonna say NVIDIA is a good one. I mean, looking forward, I'm gonna say no, it's not gonna be those two. But over the past
our
generation,
yeah,
I would say Amazon only because you can get your Apple stuff from Amazon, and Amazon you think it's. I mean, maybe Google would be the only one I would say compete with it because you Google everything, right? Google is the gateway to everything, so you always pass through Google.
So what are your top 5 most impactful brands in the world? And this is us shooting off the hip.
Okay, shooting off the hip, Google, Amazon, Apple.
Microsoft?
I would say Microsoft because they're still holding it firm down there. I mean, I love Seville, obviously. We're not good there. Or Emergent, just one or the other. But you see, then I'd have to, maybe Walmart. And the only reason why is because you hear about those two all the time. Amazon and Walmart, Google, like it's something that I can think of right off the top as like public consciousness. Those are top brands for me because like if you can just summon them off. And I didn't know you were going to ask me this question.
I know.
So this is
You're
right off the cuff.
well.
Right off the cuff because those are I mean they're competing with each other, right? Apple and Microsoft, Walmart and Amazon. But the whole point is that they changed the way we see
everything.
Shopping and shopping products. They changed, concepts of how, the entire existence of social media. I mean, Facebook could be an easy one. Throw in there.
Oh, Facebook should be on there.
Facebook should be.
Yeah.
So, and to be honest, I would value Facebook above even like Twitter,
no doubt.
all those ones because
Facebook's
it's
Instagram,
the center.
it's WhatsApp, it's so many different brands now.
And it's taken over things. Most people get their news from Facebook.
Yeah.
They don't get it from news outlets. So
That's
news has changed. And to be honest with you, shopping, I've heard a lot of people say, it's like Facebook knew what I was talking about. And then it turns out that they actually went and bought something because of an ad on Facebook because people will be like, oh, it knows that I like Lord of the Rings based Etsy products. So listen, that stuff's popped up on mine and I've clicked and taken a look because Facebook knows I like Lord of the Rings. I like products. So I might as well go look it up. So it's interesting because those companies have changed everything, but Apple's been let's face it, they were very, how would I say this? Their foresight was remarkable given what they're doing with their cameras. Because the ability to take quality pictures, to understand that we are visual creatures, humans are visual, no doubt about it, that is essential. Right? So them having this perfect integration, they understood that Instagram was something that they should buy. They've been improving their camera quality, the ability to upload all your photos and selfies to Facebook and Instagram. All that's important because that's what people love about the phones. I mean, I have people. I mean, I just know that the previous generation, that my parents, my grandparents, they didn't necessarily jump to the flip phone right away. Like they were hesitant. They used their house phone, but once the smartphone or the iPad came out, I mean, my abuelita, she has an iPad, and the reason why is because
it's bigger.
Well, it's not just that it's bigger, but she can see the photos of her great grandchildren. I mean, that's the whole point, right? You can just swipe, and was that me on?
No, that was Patty over here.
Oh, Patty
over here. Okay, I'm going to throw this to you here.
Sure.
Xavier, the closer, Erpy, is watching the show. Vanessa Parkhill, hello. CBS 19, NBC 29 at Seville Weekly.
Why, hello, everyone.
Adrian Eckner, the photographer, watching as well. I'll throw this to you. If you invested, or you had to advise someone to invest in the 5 businesses we're talking about, what would you say to them? How do you advise them? Do you say invest in all of them, spread it around?
Oh, very easily spread around. And part of the thing is, Alex talks about all the time, you can't see the future. There's people that can, but hindsight is 20/20. Like, they're proven right. Going forward, I mean, one of the things I always hear retail experts say is that who's going to win, Walmart or Amazon? It's a race between Walmart needs to get online, expand their airline presence faster than Amazon can get brick and mortar.
Walmart has the edge in brick and mortar. Amazon has the edge in e-commerce.
But that's also why I think about Amazon bought out Whole Foods. They're looking to. They bought. The funny thing is, I read somewhere that Costco bought Jet. There was some sort of, not Jet.com. There was a. I'll have to look it up and send it back to you, because there was a distributor that they bought during the pandemic, and everyone said it was a lost opportunity for Walmart because it was a distribution center that would push Costco further out. Right. I mean, Costco is another one to take a look on. I would say be careful, because they don't advertise at all, and they are huge. So that's eye on the ball, right?
So what do you think Tim Cook's legacy is?
I think it's going to be the expansion of Apple into like an entirely integrated network. I mean, there are people who are Apple people. You have Apple families. I mean, they buy the family plan. They do. I think his legacy will be, the fact that your entire network, I guess you could call it a network, or your system, the vehicle by which you get online is entirely Apple products. That's
amazing. I mean, the wearables, I got a wearable on now. I can have a wearable track my health KPIs, key performance indicators.
Right.
If something happens to me from a health standpoint, this wearable is going to allow doctors or EMTs to call up my medical records.
Right.
On the fly.
Right.
How has he transformed the business, do you think, from the Steve Jobs era?
I mean, that's interesting too, because I think they said, like, of course, Steve Jobs wasn't infallible, and I think going to the bigger phone obviously was an obvious one that Steve Jobs was, I think, from what I read, hesitant to do.
Yeah.
Right. So I think expanding the scope was important for Tim Cook, because it was sort of like, okay, we have the iPhone, and listen, there were days where people were like, well, they're not, Apple, it's, the iPhones are not selling as quick as they used to, and I think one of the things I always heard is that you could see when Apple was going to take its next step, because their R&D cash would just, they would store cash, and then their R&D would just like burn through it in a matter of like years and months, and just like find new things.
Research and development? Yep,
R&D. Sorry, I should have said research and development, sure. R&D. And it was amazing, because then they came up with all these new products. And I think going forward, that's what we're going to be seeing. If Tim Cook continues, I think he just renewed too, so he may be here for a little bit more. But I think they're going to continue to go down. I mean, look at all the things you talk about with your wearable I didn't even know about. But I think they're going to go down this route more of the integrated life and integrated, like they're looking at people and the products not as an accessory, but sort of like integrating everything with your life, with your family. So they could start expanding it, like the watches. I mean, who knows what they're coming up with next? Headsets. I mean, Google tried the glasses because they're trying to get in on that game. But the wearable, the accessory, and they sold more, I think, more in accessories than they did in iPhones last year. I may be wrong about that, but their accessories is going to be, I think, in some ways may end up being a larger market.
Grayson Long leaves this comment. He says, right. Fellas, you're underestimating what Facebook has done to this generation. They changed the course of an election. Facebook did. They've got to be on the short list for one of the most impactful companies in the world during our generation.
Oh, they were on the short list. Short list,
yeah.
True.
Yeah, thank you, Grayson.
Nope, I definitely agree. I mean, I also think, though, on the other hand, Facebook is also has some competition, because Instagram is still also the most engaging. I mean, obviously,
owned by Facebook.
It's owned by Facebook, yeah. But again, part of the thing is mentally, a lot of people still think of it as a separate kind of function, right? You open up your Instagram, and it's different from opening up your Facebook. They're not 100% integrated. They can flow through to each other, but they're not 100% integrated with each other. And I think it's interesting, because we call them Instagram influencers. A lot of the influence, right, comes from Instagram. A lot of news. I mean, I actually see a lot more news coming out of Instagram too, because you can do it quick chart. You can do and on the byline. I mean, that little area underneath. People can write all sorts of as long as they want. I mean, they can't put a million hashtags, but they can write a whole tagline about their thoughts on the subject, and it's like, quick, done, move on to the next. And, it could be whatever. You could go from news and then to a picture of Italy the next. I mean, it works perfect.
Yeah, well said. Nicholas Urpi, CMO, Emergent Financial Services. I would encourage anyone to follow Today y Mañana on Instagram. And while you're at it, follow I Love Seville on Instagram and join 13,000 plus people in the I Love Seville family. Nicholas Urpi, finances. The market rebounds Monday.
Right.
I'm going to refresh right now. It's looking pretty good before I started the show.
It was looking good when I was...
Last week was no bueno, Chico.
No.
No bueno,
it was not
Chico,
fun.
last week. Why is the market rebounding?
I think it's Pfizer. I think it's the
FDA approval?
The FDA approval. And again, it's not even just... I think we're overplaying the vaccines because the media likes to talk about vaccinations. They like to talk about the COVID pandemic, which, true, it's all in the forefront. However, I think that the mRNA technology is what investors are looking at. Because, and the funny thing, I was talking to my fiance, she's in healthcare, and she was like, this technology has been in the woodwork for many years. It's not like this is, I mean, it's brand new in the sense this is the first time it's been applied to a vaccination program.
Wait, officially a fiance?
Yes, we are officially fiancés.
Congratulations.
That happened yesterday, yes.
That happened yesterday?
It happened yesterday.
Oh,
yes.
salute, Chico.
Which is why I was not on, I had to call Keith Smith and apologize because he invited me to his show on Monday. I mean,
bueno,
I couldn't make
you're
it.
a fiance.
I am a fiance.
Congratulations.
Woo,
How did you do it?
I got on one knee and I asked her to marry me.
Well, I know you did that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. So I took the day off. We went to Crabtree Falls.
Oh, romantic.
It's beautiful up there. It is
Yeah.
anyone I recommend. I actually also recommend taking the day off and going during a weekday because
Less people.
A lot less people. Although it still got busy. It still got busy by the time I was coming back. It's a popular place. And there was a little bench, trickling water. We were sweaty from the hike, and I was like, this is perfect. So
you told her to sit down, please?
we were sitting already because we were tired. And I was like, Nikki needs some hungers. So we had a snack, we drank some water, and then I was like, I love you. It's been forever. And she's like, I'm all hot and sweaty. And I was like, I gotta work through this because, she's like, I was like, don't ruin the moment, Elizabeth. Or just gotta
stop talking.
You gotta stop talking because I gotta get on one knee. So then, pop the question. Then we spent the rest of the day calling family, calling friends. And then.
So were you wearing shorts?
I was wearing shorts.
So when you got down on one knee, did you get some rocks on the knee that scraped
There was
up the kneecap?
it was hot,
Okay.
and there was a very cool rock right there. So I was like, oh, that feels good, actually. It's like very nice that there was a cool, damp rock to just like cool off my knee. And I was like, okay. And she said yes right away. And I was like, yeah.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you
Salute.
so much. Yeah.
I'm sure family was very excited.
Everyone was screaming when we called. So, yep, they were all very, very excited.
So, and I got us off track. I apologize for that.
No, that's fine.
I wanted to congratulate you on the positive news. That's amazing. So you think this FDA Pfizer approval is putting tailwinds behind the market and is the difference between last week red and this week green?
Yeah, I think so. I think 100% also because if you look at the biotech market, it's taking off. It's like I remember looking yesterday. We were waiting. We were all taking our showers because we were all sweaty and gross. And as we were waiting to getting dressed, I checked the market, and biotech, like just the ones we track, like all green. I may have saw just like one or two reds tops. So I think that it's mostly gonna because of this new technology, which will be. Think about how big CRISPR was, right? The DNA editing technology. That drove markets up huge, especially the biotech market. Biotech, I think, is a sector that is, it's interesting because it's like, we call it kind of like a phoenix sector because it's constantly renewing itself. Because new sicknesses, new illnesses, as much as horrible as it is, they'll keep happening. And they're going to continue to happen throughout human history. It's our ability to quickly respond to them that, will be tested over time and hopefully improves. But new technology, new ways. One of the things I was telling you when I talked about new technology as the driver of the future, right? That's the missing element that a lot of economists think is from growth, economic growth when we talk about capitalism. It's technology. It's the one piece that is the thing that they think makes everything else go forward. It was the new technology that started the Industrial Revolution. It's the new technology that led us. Think about it, the electricity led us to Apple and Facebook and all this because electricity is what runs all the power. So I think, again, it's the technology they're looking at, because the technologies lots of people are using it. I think about Moderna and Pfizer used it. So the technology is available for a whole bunch of people. I think that a lot of companies are going to go forward, start being very creative with how they use it. And I think that's important.
This is a follow-up question for you. Alex, we'll get to your question here.
Right?
Okay. It's a follow-up question. This is going to be a tough one.
Okay.
FDA official approval for the Pfizer vax.
Right.
Is that the first inning of vaccination mandates from the government?
I don't know that it has an effect. It may. I think media will hope it has an effect. I don't think it has as an effect, because I think the issue with the mandate is not necessarily whether or not it's safe, but whether or not there is a actual legal authority for a government to tell you that you have to take a certain medicine regardless of your personal desires.
The government, plain devil's advocate,
right.
The government made folks do the polio vaccination.
Right. However, again, right, that was some years ago, and I think you could see perspectives change. You can see people being more fearful. Same thing. The government has done all sorts of terrible things before our government. There was the Japanese internment, but I would also hope that they don't intern unvaccinated people in concentration camps because it's unsafe, right? So I think, and again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, right? Sega talk show. Yeah. So I don't think that's as important as whether or not think about it. This is why I think New York is experimenting with pushing
proof of vax.
Yes, to businesses, because they're trying to remove themselves from the situation, because I think deep down they are concerned about their ability to constitutionally enforce these mandates. Yes, because I think at some point they'll be challenged, and then states will be like.
Good take. I'll give you props on that take right there. Hold on.
Thank you.
There we go. Nicholas Erpe, recently engaged, killing it right now. That's a good take.
Yep. So I think that's going to be the real. I think that's going to be the real test, because they're going to see, because if they can get away with not doing a mandate, right, and making businesses do it for them, they'll do it, because it's also sort of like, hey, Pontius Pilate, wash my hands, right? Because then they don't have to do it. Well, come on, it's the government. We know
that's the first Pontius Pilate reference on the I Love Seville network ever. I love it.
Well, listen, Keith and I were talking on the way here. I called him up on the phone, and we were talking about the Catholic and Catholic guilt, because he was guilting me for not coming on his show. So I was like, okay, so he stuck it in my head. So props to you, Keith. But
the very Renaissance Nicholas Erpe loves classical music.
Absolutely.
A good meal. A nice drink, the company of his beautiful fiance.
Absolutely.
Some companionship of friends and family. I'm going to throw this to you, CMO Nicholas Erpe, Emergent Financial Services, guys. If you're looking to grow your wealth, Emergent Financial Services. Retirement, wealth building, that's who you call, Emergent Financial Services. What did you make, and we love Vitae Spirits.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
What did you make of those ABC numbers that I threw out there?
The funny thing is, I was hoping you would ask me about that. I didn't think you would, but I also agree. I thought it was difficult. Well, yeah, no, Vitae Spirits just agreed to become our sponsor. We are so excited to be working with them.
There.
Yes, Vitae Spirits is sponsoring Today Mañana. So we have been sharing the interview that we had with Ian Glomsky when he came on the show, and we are looking forward to doing so much more in our partnership with them, because they are fantastic. We're going to do, I'd love to have him back, because one of the things he is passionate about is alcohol regulations, right? And we had this conversation, so he may be coming on, we hope in the future, to discuss, how those regulations need to change, because it's very difficult for distillers to, operate given the heavy regulations that the Virginia ABC has been here around for a very long time, but at the same time, that doesn't mean it should always be here.
Yeah. What, are you surprised Tito's was one?
Yes, I am very surprised. And interestingly enough, I guess you could, tastes have been changing. They were changing when I was in college, and I think they're starting to change over time. I think a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken, I think 2017 was the first year that more Americans appreciated wine than beer, or drank wine than beer. And I think that was an interesting change of domestic tastes from a U.S. perspective. But I also think in college, I had a lot of friends who their family didn't drink, but then as they were going into college, they weren't into my friends were not into ragers. They didn't go to we didn't do keg parties.
Yeah.
They didn't do beer pong. So my friends and I would just sit around and talk about, like, I was mostly into wine because I grew up. My father loves wine, so I grew up in that kind of culture.
Wine, he loves Mariano Rivera. He loves Bonds.
Yeah, he loves.
He's a great dad.
He's a fantastic father. I mean, my mother also. The funny thing is, my mother also loves her spirits now and then, right? So I mean, I also grew up tasting things like Cointreau, Grand Marnier. Like, I knew my parents taught me how to appreciate alcohol. So it was something that I could also, like, again, like, all of a sudden I'm going to college and all of a sudden there's all these other people that are just learning to appreciate or starting to appreciate, and they weren't necessarily interested in bottom shelf vodka just to shoot back in their Jello shots, right? Everyone still does that. It's fun, but I think there's more of an appreciation for taste, and I think it's showing up just in thinking about our domestic, not just our domestic, our local businesses. I mean, we've got Vitae Spirits, a distiller right here in Charlottesville, making great spirits, and it's not like he's doing bottom shelf stuff. I mean, he's making Ragged Branch, Silverback. I mean, they're making quality liquor right here in Virginia, in Charlottesville, that is meant to be appreciated, or to, like, I guess, putting this delicately, because I know people have like the cocktail, making a quality cocktail so that it can be appreciated. And I think that's so important because it really highlights this trend that you're talking about. Like, so Tito's may be, because I've never had Tito's again. I don't know if it's bottom shelf or top shelf.
I'd say it's like middle shelf.
So, I mean, that's an important trend because it means that people are like, okay, I want vodka, because I guess vodka must be very popular.
It's a good mixing liquor.
I'm guessing that's what it is, because I know hard seltzers in.
Yeah.
Truly and White Claw and all these things they're going from a stereotype cheap thing to all of a sudden, like, hey, everybody kind of, enjoys having their hard seltzer now and then, and it's great. But
give us 20 seconds. What's happening at Today Manana on Thursday at 10:15 a.m. And before we do, Emergent Financial Services, the Erpe family, the Erpe men, A+ people. These are the people that you want managing your money, your wealth, and your retirement. If you're looking to grow it, they're approachable, they're kind, they're empathetic, they're non-judging. Mm-hmm. It's a very welcoming place. A lot of financial firms have this stigma that the financial analyst is way smarter than you, so it's unapproachable. And these guys are way smarter than us, but they embody approachability. They really do at Emergent Financial Services. All right, Patty Zeller's coming up. 20 seconds for Today y Mañana, Thursday at 10:15.
At 10:15, we have Miss Virginia, Tatum Shepard. Miss Virginia is coming on the show in person. She's coming in person. She is coming in person to be on the show. She's doing an opening segment.
How the heck did you get that?
You make the ask and you have the connections, and some people have magic, Jerry.
That's what it is. Making mountains move.
Right. So, and I thought it would be great because we could hear her story. At 10:30, we've got Harvey Mayorga, our buddy, one of the owners of Guajiros, got his own mixologist brand. We'd love to hear about what he's been doing. He had the mini market over the weekend. I heard it went fantastic. So that's going to be great. And at 10:30, we have David McCormick of the Charlottesville Chamber Music Festival to talk about their upcoming season. So we're going to be very packed on Thursday. It's going to be exciting. So everyone's got to tune in because it may be a long show.
10:15.
Sorry in advance, Judah.
Today y Mañana, presented by Emergent Financial Services. Miss Virginia in our studio.
In the studio.
Well done, my friend.
You're welcome.
Que bueno, amigo. My friend, I wish you the best. You crushed it today.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely our pleasure. Guys, we're going to do a little musical chairs right here, and we'll welcome Patty Zeller to the set. We'll see you Thursday, sir.
We'll see you. Thank you, Jerry.
Absolutely our pleasure. 4 media outlets on the show as we speak. J Dubs, if you can offer some instruction there to our guests behind you, that would be great. And let's go to the two-shot with Patty Zeller. Patty, you're the Retailer of the Year.
How about it?
Congratulations.
Shocking. Thank you.
Tell us about that.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we've won sections of it before. Like they have sort of like mini divisions underneath the overall division. And we've won before for holistic approach to pet supplies and social media marketing with Jerry Miller.
Thank you.
So, but this is the whole enchilada, and we just we threw it all out there. We figured, we're going to try to enter one more time if we can't enlarge a store by an additional 1,500 square feet and move and add
during
services
COVID.
During a freaking pandemic
that we've never seen before.
Yeah, we've got nothing else. I mean,
Bar boxes.
Right. That's right. This is it. So, They were really very complimentary about our entry package, which I will say was 38 pages long.
Get out!
Hey, I told you I threw it all
How long did that
there.
take to put together?
I worked on it for about 6 weeks.
I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I was really, I put a lot of thought into it. I mean, they ask you questions in different sections and you're asked to fill them out. I had great customer testimonials, great professional testimonials to support recommendations from suppliers and distributors and good friends. And, it just worked out. I mean, this association, it's the World Pet Association.
Think about that, guys.
That's how big this is. And the Pet Product News, who sponsored the contest, is, it's national and international. So there were hundreds of applications. And if you think about all the thousands upon thousands of pet stores in the whole country.
You're number one. So I'm going to brag.
We bagged the elephant, finally.
I'm going to brag on this beautiful, bodacious, and brilliant businesswoman.
Whoa.
That's alliteration for you. She's a branding, copywriting expert.
Oh, my
she
gosh.
appreciates some alliteration. So during a pandemic, Patty Zeller leaves her home of, how long were you at McIntyre? 18?
Oh, just over 18 years. Mm-hmm.
She leaves during a pandemic her home of over 18 years, McIntyre Plaza.
Yeah.
She goes across Charlottesville to Ix. Mm-hmm. She adds 1,500 square feet, which means more overhead.
Right, we're 4,800 square feet now.
You're 4,800. You were 3,500?
Right.
3,300 at McIntyre, roughly.
Yeah.
You form a joint venture, a business partnership with Lead the Way Canine Training.
Right.
You got training services inside Animal Connection.
Right.
You hired more people than ever before. You did a complete store build out.
We did.
You took on more product. You assumed more risks. You're having your best year in business ever.
We added a bakery.
You added a bakery. You bought out a bakery.
I bought out a bakery, and so we could have baked goods.
You bought out a bakery.
Yeah.
And this was all with your 20-year anniversary next month?
It's actually started.
Oh.
I mean, we're in it. I mean,
tell me about that.
We would have moved into our first store at McIntyre August 1st.
Okay.
So we're in it. I mean, our big celebration is September 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. We got to have 4 days to party that long.
Vanessa Parkhill, Johnny Ornelas, hello. Guys, we are talking to the retailer of the year. How do you feel today?
I love it. I think it's great. I mean, it's humbling and exciting all at the same time. I mean, now I have to wonder, well, what do we do next?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that. What's next for you?
What's next? Well,
I mean, that's some pressure.
Yeah. It is. I mean, right now we just want to get through our Dog Fest and our launch of the Big Dog Blondale Anniversary Edition with Three Knots Brewery, right, for this year. Our 2-day celebration, which is basically Saturday the 18th, we have 5 rescue groups in front of Animal Connection. We have the most amazing VIP swag bags. I mean, this is not just little tiny samples of stuff, swag bags. We have custom designed swag bags with great stuff in them. We have a big store-wide sale going on that day. I mean, everything store-wide across the board to reflect our anniversary. And then Sunday, my favorite of all the Charlottesville party bands, the Gladstones, are going to play at Ix. It's free to attend. We are going to have our Big Dog Blondale on tap and in cans with Ix. I believe 3 Knots is going to have some food for sale. The SPCA is going to be out the door. It's like I said, there's going to be no charge to attend, but donations are heartily welcomed. We want to give the SPCA, some assistance where they really need it. So it's going to be a huge weekend. There's going to be T-shirts, stickers, all kinds of fun stuff.
Here's a good comment that came in from you.
What's that?
Okay, this is from Jennifer Kraling.
Oh.
Jennifer Kraling says, Jerry, I love the show. I try to watch as much as possible. Congratulations to Mrs. Zeller for winning Retailer of the Year. What's the advice that she would give to someone who's looking to get into the retail business this year?
Wow. Do your research. Do your demographic research. Visit stores that might be similar to yours and see what flies and see what doesn't. I hear so many times people that are stocking a store with all kinds of stuff that they think is cool, but somehow doesn't even have a chance on the shelves. So really visit a lot of stores and see what's going on. Have a plan, have a budget, go to trade shows, see what's trending. I mean, there's so much involved. I mean, and I say that because my first year in biz, I mean, I had done 20 years of advertising, but I had never done I'd worked in a retail store, but I'd never done a retail store. So one of the biggest mistakes I made was going to a trade show, buying all these really cute little frilly collars and dresses, la da 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 da. And this is a Corgi, Labrador Retriever, Jack Russell Terrier town that wasn't real interested in that. So I made some decisions like that probably shouldn't. I made different mistakes on buying different brands of food. And, had I known what I know now, I would have done more store visits. I did a lot of store visits in metropolitan areas, but I really should have spanned out through Virginia to see what else was going on.
So when you launched Animal Connection, you were visiting highly densely populated areas?
I did about 8 stores in Chicago, 5 or 6 in New York. I went to 3 or 4 of the biggest trade shows. Some were gift-oriented and some were pet-oriented. And that's how I decided what I was going to do. I did pick out something like low, medium, a little higher cost. I did span all the areas. I will say that, but there are other things that I could have done differently.
How did Captain Conrad respond?
Oh,
that's her husband.
Over the moon.
Yeah.
Over the moon. He is so supportive. I mean, he's just it's as much his word as it is mine. I can totally say that.
So what's next? What do we do now?
Gosh. I don't know. Well, we're still talking about maybe doing this dog park idea. I mean, it's still on the simmer. I mean, I would have loved to have finished it this year, but I have so many things going on right now.
A lot of irons in the fire.
Right. We're launching an e-commerce site in early October. Hopefully a second groomer starting. You're going to see a few little changes there, but right now we're just going to enjoy the ride for a little bit. We're aware of what's going on. We're aware of what's trending. That's as far as I can say right now.
How long do you absorb it and bask in the glory of being Retailer of the Year? Or are you already, let's go, I'm proud of this award, I earned it, now time to get Monday and Tuesday cracking at the shop?
After that first phone call, I needed to sit down and have a beer or two because I was, I really, 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 really wanted it. I mean, it's, I have, Animal Connections, luckily, we do have a lot of awards on our resume.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, we really put it out there, but this seemed to be the one elusive one that I was, gosh, how do I crack this code? I felt like I was throwing things out there. So, it took a few minutes for me to say, wow, we really did do it. And then after that, I was like, okay, what's next? I mean, I'm in the what's next mode already.
It's amazing.
Isn't that terrible? I'd love to just sit down and enjoy it, but Russ never sleeps, does it?
No, it doesn't. Did you think
Right?
you'd make it 20 years at Animal Connection?
I never thought about it. I never thought about that many years. I thought about it like, well, what's next year? I mean, there have been a couple of times when I thought, is this year where I should sell the store or that kind of thing. I've never thought about closing it ever. Not even when that Meadow Creek,
Parkway.
Right, the Parkway.
Yeah.
All that stuff was going on. I never even thought about it. But, I'm starting to think about, like, in 5-10 years, what's it going to look like? So, we'll see.
She's been on the cusp of innovation at Animal Connection for 20 years. During the pandemic, she offers delivery of food. What do we think what's your prediction of the rest of the year here? You nervous?
No, I'm not nervous.
Okay.
I mean, we handled delivery and curbside and all of
Extremely
that
well.
so well during the first few months of COVID. I mean, where other businesses were frozen by indecision, we said, all right, let's just do it. So, I mean, that really didn't affect us that much. I mean, we just kind of jumped in and said, this is how we're doing it. So, we'll see what happens. What is it? Macro pivot, micro pivot, big pivot, little pivot, whatever.
You've done them all.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So.
She is Patty Zeller. Visit her at X Park Animal Connection, 20-year anniversary as we speak. They are the Retailer of the Year in the pet industry. Patty, for
Holy
you.
smokes. Thank Thank you.
The sound machine for Patty Zeller.
Thank you.
Our client, our friend, and an inspiration for people here in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Patty, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you
All right.
tomorrow on What's Barking Local.
That's right. Exactly.
Couple more items out of the notebook, J-Dubs, and those items, guys, are a highlight of what to expect this week on the I Love Seville Network. Guys, What's Barking Local at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Miss Virginia is coming on Today y Mañana on Thursday morning, 10:15 a.m. Miss Virginia in the house. I'm going to highlight some of the questions that have come in. A lot of these have to do with Amherst County High School and the fact that it is now closed. So, choosing my words carefully. Amherst County High School, Lynchburg School System, closed last night by the school division for a COVID outbreak. I don't want to overstate the significance of this turn of events, but much like real estate, comps and comparables drive the market. In Amherst County, you have 17 COVID cases in the last few days, and their school division chose to shut down. If similar school divisions have similar infection rates, infection numbers, what Amherst did, closing down for contact tracing, is going to be a path followed by other school divisions. We got all schools in Central Virginia back in the hallways now. I wish everyone in those hallways safety, health. I hope they follow procedures. And frankly, I cannot wait for this to be beyond us. And I think how that's going to be beyond us is winning the vaccination battle. As the left-leaning national media continues to leverage the 50% vaccination rate in America in its coverage of this pandemic, we know the left-leaning national media will continue to spin this story and the 50% vaccination rate until those numbers uptick. We have to win the battle of science, the battle of health and safety, and the battle of perception is reality. And until the left-leaning national media start seeing those vaccination rates uptick closer to 100%, they will continue to spin this story morning, noon, and night. Mark it down. That's the show. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you for joining us on a gorgeous Tuesday to be alive. For Nicholas Erpy, who I hope we get to do more of these interviews, Nick Erpy, and Patty Zeller, the Retailer of the Year, and for Judah Wickower, our director, my name is Jerry Miller, and this is the I Love Seville Show.